Every day, millions of people make the same mistake. They forget about safety. One wrong move, one moment of distraction, and work turns into tragedy. On this channel, we show how a single mistake changes everything. Stay safe. A factory worker is standing with his back to a large robotic clamp. After completing an operation, the mechanism closes directly on the person, grabbing and lifting him. The incident occurred due to being in the operational zone of moving automation. It is essential to always strictly observe safe zones and monitor the equipment's path of movement. While attempting to manually unload a heavy and tall lift from a truck, it tipped over and crushed the worker. This tragedy is the result of choosing an extremely dangerous unloading method. Equipment with a high center of gravity must be moved using a crane or forklift, not manually. As a worker stood under an open roll-up gate, its mechanism failed, and the gate fell, crushing him. This tragedy is the result of both equipment failure and a gross violation of the rule not to be under a raised load or structure. A worker is on a fuel tanker during a fueling operation. Suddenly, a powerful ignition of fuel vapors occurs, and a flash of fire engulfs the entire station, including the worker. The cause was likely a spark in a vapor-rich environment. This is a tragic example of why the strictest adherence to fire safety measures, including grounding and leak control, is required when working with flammable liquids. A worker on a roof was carrying a beam and stepped onto a temporary cover over an opening. The platform could not support the weight and broke, causing him to fall through. The cause of the incident was the use of an unreliable cover for a dangerous opening. This case proves that all temporary floorings must be rated for the appropriate load and securely fixed in place. A worker in a railway depot, standing on a service gantry above a train car, raises a long metal tool and touches the catenary wire with it. This causes a massive electric arc and an electric shock. The cause of the incident was working near a high voltage line that had not been de-energized. This is a critical violation, proving that the catenary system must be switched off and grounded before any work is performed in the depot. A worker is operating a construction hoist loaded with a tall stack of sheet materials. As it ascends, the load loses its balance and collapses directly onto the operator. The cause of the incident was improper loading and the lack of secure fastening for the cargo. The operator's presence in the potential fall zone of the materials being moved is a gross violation of safety rules. In the workshop of a metallurgical plant, a crane is moving a ladle of molten metal. Suddenly, the ladle breaks loose from the hook and the entire multi-ton mass, along with the incandescent metal, falls onto the workers below. The cause was a catastrophic failure of the lifting mechanism. This case is a brutal reminder that the zone under any suspended load, especially a ladle of molten metal, must always be kept clear of people. While a mining dump truck's wheel was being serviced, a powerful tire explosion occurred. The worker standing nearby was thrown by the blast wave. This incident is a brutal example of the danger of working on high-pressure tires without a safety cage, which could have contained the blast energy. A worker is walking through the workshop past an industrial robot, which at that moment suddenly activates. The robotic arm turns and pins the person against a stationary part of the equipment. The incident occurred due to being in the active operational zone of the robot. This proves that crossing the danger zones of active automation is strictly forbidden, and the zones themselves must be equipped with safety sensors to prevent such cases. During the adjustment of a high-pressure valve, it explodes. The two workers who were nearby are thrown aside by the blast wave. This incident is the result of working on equipment that is under pressure. Before any intervention, the pressure in the system must be completely released. As a worker stood under heavy equipment being moved by a crane, the sling snapped and a load fell on him. This tragedy is the result of two violations: rigging failure and the worker's fatal error of being under a suspended load. While a worker was on a tanker truck, a powerful blast of pressurized gas erupted from a hatch, launching him into the air. This tragedy is the result of opening a container without first releasing the excess pressure, which is a gross violation of safety rules. A bulk material tanker truck is positioned for loading while a worker is on its cab. Suddenly, a powerful explosion occurs at the rear of the tanker, and a blast wave engulfs the person. The cause was likely the rupture of the vessel due to excess pressure. This case is a brutal reminder of the need for strict pressure control when working with pneumatic systems and pressurized vessels. Workers are at a site next to large tanks for gas storage. Suddenly, one of the tanks explodes, and a powerful fireball engulfs everything around, including the people. The cause was a catastrophic failure of a pressurized vessel, likely due to a faulty valve. This case is a brutal reminder of the need for the strictest inspection of such equipment and for maintaining safe distances. Workers at a construction site are minding their own business on one of the building's floors. Suddenly, a heavy concrete panel falls from a great height onto one of them. The cause of the tragedy was most likely a load breaking loose from a crane on an upper floor. This is a brutal reminder that being in the zone beneath where lifting operations are taking place is strictly prohibited. A worker is walking through an industrial site when the vertically positioned boom of a manipulator crane suddenly falls on him. The structure loses stability and covers the person. The cause was likely a failure of the hydraulics or the support mechanism holding the boom. This case is a brutal reminder that a potential danger zone exists near any large equipment, even if it seems stationary. Workers are in a trench dug right next to a wall. The excavator operator pushes the base of the wall with a bucket, causing it to immediately collapse onto the people. The cause of the incident was the operator's absolutely reckless actions, which compromised the support's integrity. Being in an unshored trench is an additional, lethally dangerous violation. A worker is standing on the narrow edge of a large industrial crusher. Suddenly, he appears to lose consciousness or balance and falls directly into the operating mechanism. The cause was working in a danger zone without guardrails or safety harness. This case is also a brutal reminder. If you're feeling unwell, do not go to a high-risk job where a moment of weakness can lead to tragedy. Due to a sudden fastening failure, the heavy tailgate of a dump truck falls and strikes a worker on the head. This tragedy is a result of equipment failure and a gross violation of the rule not to be under potentially unstable structures.